Hi, welcome back to Bean Talk. Some time ago we did a little video about the must-haves for your home espresso setup. And so today I want to talk about not the must-haves, but kind of like the nice-to-have, the luxury stuff that are kind of cool if you have them at home for your espresso setup. So yeah, let's go. Okay, so most of these tools I want to show you are mostly about distributing and for a better extraction of the coffee. Therefore, of course, we're going to need it to make espresso. So we once again have our little Faemina here that we're going to work with today. I'll just start with preparing a shot and explaining all the different tools you can use. So of course, we're going to put it on a scale and grind some coffee in it. One of the things we have is a little funnel. Yeah, it's not very expensive. I don't want to talk too much about that, but it's easy for using our next tool, a WDT-Distributor tool. WDT stands for Wise Distribution Technique. And what it does, when you grind coffee, especially with cheaper grinders, like you probably have at home, you're gonna have some clumps in the coffee grounds. So you can use this to kind of break these clumps. You see them a lot in different videos. This should help with micro channeling and therefore also help you to extract more out of the coffee. If this is something you're interested in and want us to talk more about it and actually make like a full analysis, I can do that for you. Just put it down in the comments if you want to see that, and we'll make a full video out of it. The next thing many of you might know is a distributor or a leveler. So this is actually a pretty standard tool right now. Many people and also a lot of coffee shops use it now. It's instead of leveling the coffee with your finger. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna put it on the portafilter, on the coffee, and then just give it a couple of spins. And now you'd have a pretty even bed. Now that we have this even bed, this once again should help us with channeling, or that we don't have any channeling, because usually if you would have like just straight off the grinder, if you would temp it, then you would probably have like a big amount of coffee in the middle and less in the surrounding areas, meaning that if you would just temp it, then in the middle it would of course be far denser than other parts, which would then lead to channeling, that the water would just go through the sides because there's less resistance, and water always seeks the path of the least resistance. Now that we have our coffee perfectly distributed, we just need to temp it. And then they're just regular tempers like these, or you can have like these flat kind of tempers. And there are even automatic tempers and spring-loaded tempers, so whatever suits you, you can take. Give it a flush. Brew some espresso. And so using these distribution tools like the WDT and the leveler is gonna end up giving you a more even extraction, and also really in terms of extraction, it's gonna give you more extraction. You're gonna extract more out of the coffee. And let's talk about a couple of more things that are kind of cool to have at home. So with the must-haves, I talked about scales. There's a big range in scales, so you can get like cheaper ones off of Amazon for about 20 euros probably. And then you have Acaia scales, which are quite expensive, but really cool. Talk about the scales. So you have a big one and a small one. The smaller one is called Lunar and the bigger one is called Pearl. So what's really cool about it is it's so small that you can actually fit it underneath your espresso machine. So with this machine, I don't necessarily need it because I can program the dose of the water, but a lot of home espresso machines are fully manual, and then it's of course handy to actually know how much water or coffee goes into your cup. So that's why this is super nice to have. And then for the big scale, the big advantage is that you can easily put a portafilter on top. One more thing I want to show you that you might see in a lot of other videos right now, or people talk about it and I want to explain a little bit, are single dose grinders. So in this case we have the Eureka Mignon single dose, which works similar to the Niche Zero or other single dose grinders. So what single dosing means is just that you can put a certain amount of coffee into the grinder, like 20 grams for example, and should get the same amount out of the grinder. So, which of course, if you have like one grinder at home with like a standard kind of blend, and you have like a, let's say a top shelf kind of single origin coffee at home that you don't want to share with your whole family, it's good if you have one of these at home, and then you can just brew one shot at a time basically. We're gonna take some of this phenomenal Canadian espresso from Nomi. So we've got 20.3 grams. We're gonna put it in the grinder and hope for the best, and that we get the same amount of coffee outside. So let's check. 20.0, almost 20.1. So some coffee went missing, but not a lot compared to other grinders. And so I want to use this for explaining you another tool we have around here, which is something that is kind of cool for observing a grinder and stuff like that, but I don't think many people actually use. So it's called the Kruve Sifter. And what it does is we have a couple of different chambers here with different grids. So with different sizes. So we have one with 300 micrometers and one with 200 micrometers, and then a bottom part. And what we can do now is we can take our coffee, put it on there, close the lid, and start sifting. Kind of feel like I'm on the playground playing with sand. And then it should sift out the different particles. What this does is, if you want a certain kind of distribution, especially for, I mean, this is for espresso grind size in this case, what I used, but you have different sizes of grids, even for huge boulders. To be honest, my personal opinion is that for espresso at home, this is completely overkill. But I know that some people, especially for Brewer's Cup, for example, at least in the past, used this to have a very even particle distribution. That basically all the particles should be the same for filter coffee. With espresso, there's different theories. Some people, or not theories, but perspectives. If you have a very even particle distribution and say all the particles are the same size, you're gonna have a very, very clean cup profile. But if you have some sort of distribution or uneven distribution, this is gonna lead to more texture, especially if you have a bunch of fines in there. You're gonna have a more creamy texture of the coffee. I showed you how to distribute your coffee, what kind of tools you can have around at home, and yeah, also for stuff like that. I mean, the leveler is pretty standard now also in a lot of coffee shops, but the WDT, to be honest, I've never seen this used in a coffee shop. It just takes too much time and effort, and usually with professional grinders you don't actually need it. And the scales, I mean, it's up to you. They're definitely cool. At coffee shops, they're pretty standard now. For at home, you're just gonna know for yourself what you actually need, if you need this expensive of a scale. And yeah, for the sifter, it's a fun tool if you want to try out and sift out your coffee and see the quality of your grind size, how even it is, but also might be a fun thing for at home every once in a while, but I don't think any coffee shops would use it. And yeah, I think this should pretty much cover it. All right, that's it for today. If you like our videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It would mean a lot. And if you also have certain topics you would like us to make videos about, put it down in the comments And I'd also like to know if you use any of these tools at home or in a working environment. If you work at a coffee shop, please let me know. I will see you in our next video. Until then, drink loads of good coffee and see ya. Bye.